Part 41. Being a Bug in a Survival Game. Author, Kuanke. Chapter 405. When Sutinyu passed by a flower bed, he rolled his eyes and quietly released a few small residual flowers. Seeing the little broken flowers getting in and hiding their whereabouts, Sutinyu finally looked away and continued to follow the food delivery team. The food delivery team entered a refined and elegant castle and placed the food on the dining table in the living room on the first floor. At the top of the stairs, a sharp-faced man wearing a red robe came down. Sutinyu hid in the corner and watched the maids bow their heads to the sharp-faced man and salute, "Respect the noble master Elsa, good morning." "Yes," Elsa responded lightly, sitting on the master's seat at the dining table, letting the maids serve him breakfast. "Is this man the so-called Master Elsa?" Sutinyu swallowed his saliva silently. She came out so fast in the morning that she didn't even have time to have breakfast. Sutinyu waited and waited, until his stomach almost growled, and he couldn't bear it anymore, so he sneaked out to eat a piece of bread and then came back. In fact, it doesn't matter whether he is hungry or not, he is just afraid that the sound of his hungry stomach will reveal his whereabouts. Well, yes, that's it. It had been almost an hour since he went out. Seeing that the invisibility effect of the hat was about to end, Sutinyu didn't plan to wait for Elsa to have a leisurely meal on the first floor, so she secretly ran up the stairs. The main reason for this trip was to find the reason why Elsa was suspected of being able to lock her whereabouts. The previous disc was destroyed by him, and he didn't know if there would be a new locking magic weapon. What Sutinyu is doing now is tantamount to pulling chestnuts from the fire, playing with the heartbeat. There are 5 floors in this castle. Since we don't know which floor Elsa lives on, we can only check them one by one. Sutinyu started from the 2nd floor. In the castle, apart from a group of servants, there is only one master for Elsa to live in. From the atmosphere and traces of life, you can determine whether this floor is the floor where Elsa lives. Not on the 2nd floor. Sutinyu didn't stop for a moment and went up to the 3rd floor. When Sutinyu opened the door of a room on the 3rd floor, Sutinyu's figure was reflected in the large mirror in the room. The hat's statute of limitations has expired. The 3rd floor has a bit more life than the 2nd floor, and it should be Elsa's living floor. However, Sutinyu wandered around and found nothing. No, Elsa should be a mage, right? Why doesn't he even have a magic weapon or magic potion? Is it possible to carry it with him? Sutinyu continued to walk up. Maybe it's up there. Sutinyu hoped to gain something during this trip. As for beating Elsa, well, that's just by the way. Sutinyu went up to the 4th floor and clearly felt that the surrounding layout was different. In other words, there was something wrong with the atmosphere on this floor. It was a bit more gloomy and depressing. The light bulb on the 4th floor seemed to be broken, so some candles were lit for illumination. The firelight was dark and filled with haze-like blur. Sutinyu came to the living room on the 4th floor. All the original living furniture had been cleared away, and a strange circular pattern was painted on the floor, with crisscrossing arcs or straight lines on it. Is this a magic circle? Sutinyu searched around the magic circle and found a destroyed disc thrown carelessly on the ground in the corner. Sutinyu didn't admit her mistake, this was what she ruined. But now I only see what appears to be a pattern of a magic circle. No matter how much information there is, it is gone. It can't be possible. Elsa can lock her with just a magic circle without any medium, right? Being a Bug in a Survival Game. Author, Kuanke. Chapter 406. Living room on the 1st floor. After Elsa finished her breakfast, she went upstairs contentedly. When going up the stairs, a ring on Elsa's hand shone with a faint light, and the next second, a white conch appeared in his hand. Today, let's make another locking magic weapon and catch the person as soon as possible, Elsa secretly thought in her mind. This kind of conch looks a bit like a product of the mermaid tribe in the deep sea. Elsa has not mentioned this to anyone yet. Because of trouble. As long as he ensures that the murderers who hurt the princess are just a few petty thieves, after they are all captured, he can go and receive the reward from the king, and maybe his title can be promoted again. Elsa's calculations were shrewd. Elsa is coming up, on the 4th floor, so heard her fish ears twitching slightly, and heard the footsteps becoming increasingly clear, and she quickly found a place to hide. The magic circle is on the 4th floor, and Elsa shouldn't be able to go up to the 5th floor. Sotingu hurried to the stairs. Just as Elsa's figure appeared at a corner of the stairs below, she bent down slightly and slipped up the stairs between the 4th and 5th floors. Sotingu held the meteor rod in his hand, crouched, and sat on the steps of the stairs near the 5th floor, looking down through the railing. I can only take a gamble. Bet Elsa won't go to the 5th floor. If the bet is wrong, then you have no choice but to beat someone up first. Fortunately, Elsa did go up to the 4th floor and stopped going to the 5th floor. Elsa looked around the magic circle in the living room on the 4th floor and found nothing wrong, so she placed the conch in the center of the magic circle. When Elsa's figure appeared at the stairs on the 4th floor, Sotingu also saw the conch in Elsa's hand, and her eyes were slightly surprised for a moment. Ah! Elsa is a player? Bah, no, Elsa must have taken one of the player's tokens. After Elsa entered the living room, Sotingu quietly came down a little to ensure that he could take a look at the magic circle in the living room. The conch is placed in the magic circle. Could it be that my exposure yesterday was related to the conch? The more Sotingu speculated, the more aggrieved she felt. This is simply an unnecessary disaster. No, we have to get the conch back. At this time, Elsa took out 5 new ordinary discs from the storage ring and placed them around the conch one after another. Behind the magic circle, sections of candles were burning, but some had been extinguished, so Elsa relit them. Then, Elsa took out the magic wand she carried with her and began to mutter something. The magic circle began to light up, and the conches and 5 discs placed on the magic circle also lit up one after another. Great magician Anthony, please listen to the prayers of your most devout believers. Please guide your followers. As soon as Elsa finished speaking, the light of the conch was extinguished, but the 5 discs shone brightly. Huh? What's going on? When Elsa picked up a disc and felt the message from the disc, her expression suddenly changed. Are there thieves nearby? Could it be that he was in a castle? How can this be? Oops, the locking magic weapon is ready. Sotingu secretly said something was wrong. Between escaping and helping the unknown player brother regain the conch, Sotingu only hesitated for half a second before self-sacrifice and chose the latter. The moment the disc was successfully refined, Sotingu had already quietly moved towards Elsa's direction. And the meteor rod in Sotingu's hand was getting longer bit by bit. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Being a bug in a survival game. Author, Kuanke. Chapter 407. Elsa sensed the approaching danger and ran away immediately. Then when he saw Sotingu suddenly appeared, he was shocked and angry. Who are you? How could someone break in? I'm your uncle. It was this turtle grandson who made himself so embarrassed yesterday, right? The meteor rod in Sotingu's hand hit Elsa in the face again, forcing the latter to retreat and dodge. Elsa was a mage, and if she was given the upper hand and enough chanting time, it would still be very difficult for Sotingu to fight in close quarters or even seize the conch. But now, Sotingu is the one who takes the lead, which is equivalent to the game in which one should keep a safe distance. The mage who throws magic in the distance is approached by a warrior who is good at melee combat. Now he cannot protect himself, let alone have a good output environment. Are you an accomplice of the thieves who attacked the princess? Elsa was frightened and angry, and received the message from the disc in her hand, and understood the general identity of Sotignu, who suddenly appeared. Guess Sotignu made a face, but still did not let Elsa keep distance, and was also wary of unknown magical means. Villains often die from talking too much. Although, Sotignu doesn't think that his series of actions of breaking into other people's homes to get back the conch and being forced to knock people out after being exposed are like a villain, but he should learn from it and be able to knock them out with a stick. We must not delay the matter. Seeing that Elsa was only wary of her own safety and didn't even have time to grab the conch on the magic circle, Sotignu deliberately forced her to move away from the conch, and then suddenly stepped forward with a lunge. He bent down to pick up the conch and put it into the inventory with his backhand. Although this conch belongs to another player, Sotignu can also put it in the inventory as long as it is not a binding item. This world has storage bags, storage rings and other space props, but Sotignu doesn't need to be secretive about using the inventory. As Elsa watched Sotignu take the conch, she realized that from the beginning, the latter's target was not him himself, but the conch, a medium that continuously creates locked magic weapons. Damn it! Despicable little thief! Give the conch back, Elsa yelled angrily. After getting the conch, Sotignu smiled brightly and said, "Hey, master, don't frame anyone, okay? This conch is not yours." Hateful. I got the conch, but there are still 5 hidden dangers, namely the 5 successfully refined discs. Sotignu must destroy or take away them all before this trip can be considered complete. Elsa wasn't stupid either. After knowing Sotignu's true intention, she paid more attention to the disc in her hand. There were 4 discs on the magic circle that could not be taken away in the future. Elsa wanted to get them back, but Sotignu was also on guard. Seeing that the former wanted to come over and get the discs on the magic circle, she was not in a hurry to grab them. Instead, he swung the stick and hit Elsa. Between being injured and getting the disc back, Elsa hesitated for one last second and subconsciously dodged. But this time, Sotignu didn't let Elsa go so easily. With a twist of his wrist, the meteor rod that was originally moving forward changed direction and continued to hit Elsa with unabated momentum. Seeing that she had no time to dodge, Elsa could only use her hands to protect herself. Thinking that a weak woman would not be able to hit her with much force even with a stick, she thought of carrying it down directly. But the next second, Elsa regretted it so much that she wanted to curse. Being a bug in a survival game. Author, Kuanke. Chapter 408. Sotignu hit hard with a stick, and a sound that sounded like bones breaking was heard. Elsa flew backwards, and her back hit the surrounding candle holders, knocking down the burning candles on them to the ground. There was an animal skin blanket spread on the edge of the floor, and sparks fell on it. Instantly the fire swelled and black smoke rose. Elsa was lucky and was not burned, but in an instant, the image of the mysterious mage was shattered. Ahem. Elsa staggered to her feet, feeling that her internal organs were turbulent, which was very uncomfortable. This woman's strength is too terrifying. It's simply unbelievable. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Sotignu picked up 4 discs. The panel popped up, and Sotignu knew that these 4 gadgets could be put into the inventory. The thought of destroying them was suppressed, and they were all put into the inventory. Now, there is only the last disc left. Sotignu's eyes fell on Elsa again. The fire on the ground continued to spread, and thick smoke gradually poured out from the gaps in the windows and the stairs. The servants and guards of the nearby city lord's mansion discovered something was wrong. Why is there smoke? No. The master's residence is on fire. Quick. The master is still inside. Go put out the fire. At this time, on the 4th floor. As the smoke from the fire spread, Sotignu knew that he couldn't stay here for long. Damn little thief, Elsa was completely angered and took out a bottle of potion from the storage ring. Sotignu's eyes focused on the base of the potion bottle. There was a small symbol on it, and this symbol seemed to be on the empty bottle of her disguise potion. A trace of hesitation and pain flashed across Elsa's face, but she still gritted her teeth and dropped the potion bottle into the flames on the ground. The glass shattered, and the liquid inside flowed out. Not only did it not extinguish the flames, it seemed to merge with the flames. The originally ordinary flame seemed to be suddenly given life, controlled by Elsa, and spread towards Sotingyu. Oh haha! Sotingyu observed that these flames had just been controlled, and Elsa was not yet very skilled in controlling them, so he advanced instead of retreating and ran towards the ladder. She didn't believe that Elsa dared to set herself on fire. Sure enough, looking at Sotingyu, Elsa, who was not proficient in controlling fire, was also a little timid. At this time, Elsa didn't notice that one or two vines quietly appeared on the soles of his feet. These vines avoided the flames and suddenly wrapped around Elsa when she wanted to dodge Sotingyu's attack again. Elsa's feet. What? Elsa stumbled and turned around to see that at some point, several vines had appeared on the floor, all tightly wrapped around her feet. Of course, Sotingyu wouldn't let this great opportunity pass him by. Bang bang bang. He hit various parts of Elsa with the meteor rod without hesitation. When he saw the disc tightly held in his hand, when the rod went down, the disc immediately fell into pieces and lost its magic power. Hey, it's done. Having settled his worries and vented his anger, Sotingyu was ready to run away. Master! Master! Are you okay? At this time, a group of guards rushed up to the stairs. Elsa pointed at Sotingyu and yelled in pain, "Hurry, catch her quickly." Sotingyu blinked his big eyes. At his feet, a small broken flower quietly ran over and pulled Sotingyu's trousers. Being a bug in a survival game. Author, Kuanke. Chapter 409. Sotingyu lowered his head and asked, "Where?" Xiaocan Hua pointed to a room on the 4th floor. Seeing this, Sotingyu hurriedly ran in that direction. "Catch her quickly," Elsa still yelled. The guards had never seen Sotingyu, nor did they know her, but this was Elsa's order, so they all followed it and surrounded Sotingyu. But Sotingyu entered the room quickly, closed the door and locked it. And inside the room, there was a hole that wasn't there before, as if it had been carved out by something. The walls of the castle are still very thick. Even if a passage is cut out, you won't notice anything strange when you look at the castle from the outside. This was the escape route Sotingyu left for herself. Without hesitation, Sotingyu got into the passage. After Sotingyu entered, the small broken flowers stretched out their vines and pulled some heavy wooden cabinet seats over to block the entrance. After the guards opened the door, what they saw when they came in was this scene. The person is gone. Enter the passage and continue chasing. The guards were not stupid, and they also knew that Sotingyu escaped through this inexplicable extra passage, but it took them some time to clear out the heavy objects blocking the entrance of the cave. But after the hole was cleared, another problem arose. The passage is too small. The guards are all tall men, and this passage can only be passed by petite women or children. When a suitable candidate was found to enter the passage, the final exit was deep in a flower garden, and Sotingyu had already fled. Sotingyu wore a scarf around her neck. With the help of the scarf, she covered most of her face. She wore a hat with the brim lowered, and finally returned to the hotel room. "I'm finally back." Sotingyu took off his hat and scarf to breathe some air. The scarf is a winter accessory in sportswear, so it is just for use. Otherwise, it would be very difficult for Sotingyu to return to the hotel without attracting attention. Now, just wait until dark before returning to the store. Sotingyu took out 5 discs and tinkered with them, but he didn't know how to use them. This thing shouldn't be broken, right? Is it because I didn't figure out the correct usage? Hiss. Sotingyu thought of the store manager. It seemed that the store manager was a mage and should know how to use the disc. This thing can lock onto Sotinyu holding the conch, and in the same way, it can also lock onto other players. Now, Sotinyu estimated that she might be the only player in the city, so the Yuan Pan only discovered her. By the way, the bottle of potion that Elsa used, the symbol on the bottom of the bottle. Sotinyu took out the empty bottle from the inventory, dug out the bottom of the bottle, and saw similar symbols as expected. What is the relationship between the store manager and Elsa? I just hope it's not a friendly relationship, otherwise. Sotinyu stupidly took the disc and asked the store manager how to use it, as if he was trying to catch a sheep in a tiger's mouth. Master Elsa's residence was visited by thieves, who were accomplices of the group of thieves who attacked the princess before. The news quickly spread throughout most of the city, and groups of royal knights and city lords' palace guards swarmed out and began to seal off the entire city for investigation. By the time they found Sotinyu's hotel, Sotinyu had already escaped. Without the locking disc, Sotinyu had no trouble hiding. As for why not just go back to the store manager? First, at least the store manager took Sotinyu in, and the search was the strongest during the day. There might even be guards in the store to search, so she couldn't be too unethical. Secondly, there is a stable hiding spot for Sotinyu. No matter how big the wave is, it cannot reach there. There must be a way out. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Being a bug in a survival game. Author, Kuanke. Chapter 410. The hat took a long time to cool down, but fortunately, the effect of the disguise potion was still there. During this period, Sotinyu avoided the royal knights and guards. Only Elsa and a few guards had seen Sotinyu's current appearance, and knew that she was the thief who broke into Master Elsa's residence. The new wanted poster portrait has not yet been released, but with this appearance, Sotinyu attracts attention because she is so beautiful, and passers-by do not doubt her identity. After the 5-hour duration of the disguise potion has passed, the cooling time of the prop hat is almost over. After having lunch at the newly rented hotel, and waiting for another hour for the hat's cooling time to expire, Sotinyu used the hat again and walked out of the hotel in a swagger. Let's go to the store. After a few hours of settling, Sotinyu wanted to go back to the area near the store first. The hat is only valid for 1 hour at a time, and there are still at least 5 hours before dark. If we go back then, it will be closer and more convenient. The sun was setting. The old man walked out of the store slowly with his hands behind his back. He glanced at the streets in both directions and saw no one. After standing there for a few minutes, when the old man was about to go back to the store, he saw a petite figure appearing on the corner of the street in the distance. It seemed that the man was in a good mood and was jumping up and down. The old man looked at him for a moment, then turned and walked into the store. At this moment, the petite figure also saw the old man in front of the store with lights on, and an excited voice came, "Grandpa, the store manager." Sotinyu ran over in a few steps, muttering, "Grandpa, store manager, is there any food? I'm hungry, hee, I'll give you money." Sotinyu, who came back successfully, was indeed in a beautiful mood, but she also forgot that yesterday she was pitiful by saying that she had no money. The old man ignored Sotinyu, and when Sotinyu entered the store, he saw at a glance that the food was still hot on the counter. Sotinyu was stunned for a moment, but in the next second, he burst into laughter and ran over, "Thank you, Grandpa, store manager." The old man returned to the counter and put the medicine he had prepared for the day under the counter. "Is the medicine easy to use?" "It's super nice," Sotinyu replied while eating. "Have you finished all your work?" the old man asked again. "Absolutely." Sotinyu remembered the symbol on the medicine bottle and how to use the disc, and suddenly frowned slightly, biting his fork with a tangled expression. "After all, should I ask the store manager? The old man suddenly changed the topic and talked about another matter. Today, the guards in the city came to search again. Ah, really? It seems that there are indeed a lot of guards on the street today. Sotinyu ate up the rice in the bowl and burped a little. Little girl, you just came to the city yesterday, right? The old man asked. Sotinyu nodded. Yes. Why did she feel that the store manager's grandpa discovered something? Yesterday and today, the person the guard wants to find is you, right? The old man said firmly. For it. Sotinyu subconsciously wanted to quibble. But when she thought about it, she still had something to ask the store manager's grandfather, and depending on the situation, the store manager's grandfather was probably 70 to 80% sure. It seemed that there was no use in quibbles now. Yes. Sotinyu finished her answer and quickly added, but the attack on the princess has nothing to do with me. I really just came to the city yesterday. As soon as I came here, I was inexplicably identified by the guards as an accomplice of thieves. Sotinyu pouted her mouth slightly, with a depressed look on her face. Being a bug in a survival game. Author, Kuanke. Chapter 411. Little girl, do you still remember what you promised me when I gave you the disguise potion? The old man asked. Sotinyu smacked her mouth. Tell me, Grandpa Store Manager, what do you want me to do? The old man's eyes fell on the burning candle next to him, and his tone was slightly cold. Girl, I want you to kill Elsa, do you dare? Elsa? Sotinyu blinked his big eyes. The store manager's grandpa really knows Elsa, and it seems that the relationship is not an ordinary acquaintance. Grandpa, the store manager, I want to ask, why do you want me to kill Elsa? Sotinyu asked curiously. The old man glanced at Sotinyu, then his eyes fell on the candle again. His voice was as calm as dead water, and he began to tell a story about the past. The old man's name was Grain, and he was once a great mage who was admired by thousands of people and had great fame. Since his enlightenment, Glenn has followed an old mage to learn various magic spells and magic potions. After graduating from the academy, Grain continued to study magic, and did not miss the love between his children. He worked steadily step by step, and finally developed an unprecedented magic potion at the age of 28, and became famous in one fell swoop. At the age of 35, Grain passed the exam for the Archmage qualification certificate and became the youngest Archmage in the history of Venato. After entering middle age, Grain, who had already gained both fame and fortune, began to consider recruiting disciples to inherit his legacy. At that time, Elsa, who was only 10 years old, had outstanding talent and could sense magic inscriptions better than the average formal mage. Both were strong, and like Grain, they both came from poor families. Grain fell in love with Elsa at a glance, took her under his tutelage, and taught her carefully. Although Elsa is very talented in understanding magic inscriptions, her talent and qualifications in magic potion are mediocre. This was also a worry for Glenn at the time, because the most important thing for Glenn to become famous is rely on magic potion. Later, Glenn stopped teaching Elsa about magic potions and took on a young disciple who was talented in magic potions in order to pass on his knowledge of magic potions. But just because of the matter of accepting a disciple again, Elsa, who was almost 20 years old, felt that Grain looked down on him and was always partial to the younger disciples, and she felt jealous. When her junior disciple went out into the sea to collect raw materials for magic potion, Elsa hired a killer to brutally kill her junior disciple and bury him in the belly of a fish. Elsa originally thought that her plan was perfect and there would be no flaws. But he never expected that Grain was proficient in the art of divination. After learning the bad news about his little disciple, he used divination to figure out Elsa's conspiracy. In anger, Grain terminated the master-disciple relationship with Elsa and placed a traitor curse on the latter. All the magical knowledge Elsa learned from Grain was sealed, which was equivalent to losing her obtained magic and became an ordinary person. Overnight, Grain lost 2 disciples, and used the extremely energy-consuming divination techniques and betrayal spells one after another. After being exhausted mentally and physically, he finally resigned from the position of the royal mage of the palace and returned home to recuperate. Hearing this, Sutinyu asked in confusion, "Grandpa, the store manager, since you punished Elsa at the beginning and didn't have any murderous intention at that time, why do you want to kill him now?" If that beast really stops, I won't be willing to argue with him." The old man's tone was extremely cold, and he continued to tell the story of what happened next. Being a bug in a survival game. Author, Kuanke. Chapter 412. I thought the matter was over, but Grain never expected that during the last 10 years of Elsa's apprenticeship, in the last 5 years, because Elsa had made no progress in magic potions, he believed that Grain was hiding something and refused to teach him. He was so capable that he secretly hooked up with another archmage and took the initiative to join the latter's sect. In Venato, in the same field, you are not allowed to worship a second master before becoming a master or severing the relationship. If you worship a second master, it is a grave sin of deceiving the master and destroying the ancestor. After the conspiracy was exposed, Elsa went to ask another archmage to remove the traitor curse from her body, become a mage again, and declare her commitment to them openly. With the power of the archmage, Elsa united with the mages that Grain had offended or had grudges with in the past, and in turn retaliated against Grain, spreading the word that Grain was in vain and was actually a liar, and even wanted to make Grain the most authoritative person in Venato. The Mage Alliance will be expelled for life. After using the divination technique, Grain's magic power had not had time to recover, and he resigned from his official position. His authority was not as powerful as that of his rising star former apprentice, so he could only avoid his influence for the time being. After the series of reversals, Green could only admit that he was unlucky. He had misunderstood people and had raised a white-eyed wolf. Elsa's official career went smoothly, her title continued to rise, and for a while, she was touted as the genius most likely to become an archmage before the age of 35. But secretly, without Grain's restraint, Elsa used her power to do all kinds of robberies. Just from Grain's investigations over the years, every one of them is shocking. Elsa played with women and forced hundreds of virtuous women to commit suicide at sea. When managing city affairs, he maliciously raises taxes and steals the people's wealth. Investing in the construction of black-hearted factories to exploit workers, about 50 workers fall on the factory floor every month, and their bodies are thrown into the sea hastily. Counterfeit medicines were sold at high prices to poor people who had urgent illnesses and needed first aid. In the end, as expected, the medicines had no effect and instead accelerated the patient's death. Elsa was good at superficial skills, and all the dirty work was done by her henchmen, so that in the eyes of ignorant people, he was still a talented mage with unlimited glory. After listening to all the stories, Sutinyu also understood why the store manager's grandfather wanted to kill Elsa. Although Grain has already kicked Elsa out of the house, just because Elsa is a second master alone, the store manager has reason to clean up the house. Not to mention the bad things Elsa has done, killing him is just to eliminate harm for the people. Grandpa, the store manager, you want to clean up the store. The reason is very legitimate, but I don't seem to have the position to take care of it, right? Sutinyu's eyes rolled slightly. Glenn glanced at her. What? You don't dare to kill Elsa. No way, Sutinyu straightened up, but you can't just kill people casually. It's not like killing fish or chickens. There must be a reason and an identity. Then what reason do you want, little girl? What is your identity? Green asked. He, if I were the store manager's grandpa's new apprentice, wouldn't I have a legitimate reason and a serious identity to clean up the house for you? Sutinyu rubbed her little hands and said her true intention. After learning the ins and outs of the store manager's grandpa's plan to kill Elsa, Sutinyu had an idea and thought that this would be a good opportunity to become a disciple and learn magic. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Being a Bug in a Survival Game. Author, Kuanke. Chapter 413. You are too old to learn. Glenn refused again. This was not to fool Sutingyu. The prime age for learning magic is between 5 and 12 years old. Sutingyu only looked petite, but in fact he was already an adult. Sutingyu continued to fight. Grandpa, the store manager, I have been smart and clever since I was a child. I must have the talent to learn magic. Just give me a chance, Grandpa. As he said this, Sutingyu blinked his big eyes, acting shamelessly and cutely. Even if I can't learn, then I can still be regarded as half of your apprentice. If I go to kill Elsa, I can be regarded as a master with a good reputation, right? Sutingyu's subtext is that he will fulfill his promise regardless of whether he can learn it or not. Glenn thought for a moment and finally nodded in agreement. Since you insist on it, then it will be as you wish. Thank you, Master. Sutingyu's eyes lit up and he immediately changed his tune. Glenn wore a storage ring on the index finger of his left hand. He took out a sheepskin notebook from it and handed it to Sutingyu. This is some theories and summaries summarized by the master after years of hard work in magic potion. The self-developed magic potion formula is now given to you. Thank you, Master. Sutingyu took it with both hands solemnly. There are 2 more books. One is a basic encyclopedia of magic potions, and the other records the various magic potion formulas that have been circulated so far. Green took out 2 books again, which were thicker than the previous sheepskin manuscripts. A lot of it was also given to Sutingyu. Wow, it's so thick. Sutingyu was very excited. Master, is the disguise potion in it? It's all there naturally. After Grain gave him a handbook and 2 books, he gave instructions. You can use the pharmaceutical tools in the store, but you must first memorize the contents in the books before you start. Okay, Master. It seems that the Master wants to inherit his old man's achievements in magic potion. If Sutingyu could learn magic potion science, he could find the raw materials for the potion in the system mall, and then prepare the magic potion himself. Then wouldn't it be possible to get as much disguise potion as you need? Maybe she will be able to use it in some dungeon in the future. Anyway, having too many skills is not overwhelming. Hey, wait a minute. Aren't you positioned as a reckless warrior? Why did you join the ranks of mages who fire cannons from a distance? Then who are you? Melee mage? Muscle master mage? Sutingyu always felt that he was drifting further and further away on the road of cheating and deceiving, pretending to be a pig and eating the tiger, and that he was gone forever, the kind that even 10,000 horses could not pull back. That's right, Master, as a great mage and an alchemist, why don't you just take care of Elsa yourself? Glenn explained the reason. I have several descendants of my deceased old friends in the Imperial City who are now studying at the Magic Academy. The great mage behind that beast is teaching in that school, and by virtue of the rule that the seniors cannot do anything to the juniors at will, we can only let that beast run rampant till now. So that's it? Now, Sutingyu completely understood why the Master asked her to kill Elsa. But having said that, Master, you should have said it earlier. I am going to trouble Elsa today. Sutingyu's tone was rather regretful. Don't worry, you can learn the basics of magic potion first. I hope you use magic potion to kill that beast, Green said. Sutingyu nodded. Yeah. Kill him, no problem. Anyway, do as the Romans do. If in the real world, Sutingyu couldn't kill people directly, or he would teach his little friends a bad lesson. A good boy can't do bad things. But, now we are in the game world, we are going to kill a scumbag, and we have a reason to clean up the family, so we don't have so many worries. Being a bug in a survival game. Author, Kuanke. Chapter 414. Sotingyu stayed in the store for half a month. In the past half-month, except for occasionally using disguise potions to disguise my appearance and go out to find out information, I spent most of the rest of the time in the store, memorizing the Encyclopedia of Magic Potions and Encyclopedia of Magic Potion Formulas. As for the Sheepskin Codex, Grain's advice was not to read it yet. It would not be too late to read it after you are familiar with the other two books and understand the process and steps of refining the potion. In addition, Grain also gave Sotingyu a complete set of tools for refining medicine. Sotingyu secretly checked the panel and found that except for the sheepskin notebook, the other items could not be taken out of the copy. In terms of tools, it's not too difficult. The system mall has everything. You can definitely use game currency to exchange for a set of medicine refining tools. But the basic knowledge of magic potions required Sotingyu to memorize the contents of 2 books by heart in the limited time he had in the dungeon. In this regard, Sotingyu could only sigh, what should come will always come. You know, Sotingyu didn't go through the college entrance examination, let alone the rote memorization in school, and she was lucky for a while. Fortunately, Sotingyu's memory is not very bad. On the contrary, it is much better than the average person. It took half a month to memorize theoretical knowledge while trying hands-on operations. The two-pronged approach was very effective. Sotingyu was successfully promoted from a magic idiot who didn't understand anything to a qualified magic apprentice. Of course, if you want to become an official mage, you must refine a type of potion on your own, and the success rate must be no less than 70% before you can be successfully promoted to an official mage. One day, when Sotingyu successfully refined a bottle of the simplest potion according to the steps in the book, it meant that he would embark on the path of becoming a formal mage. It seems that you are quite talented in magic potions. When he saw that Sotingyu had successfully refined the potion, Green breathed a sigh of relief. Hey, master, let me just say that I have been smart since I was a child. With encouragement, Sotingyu began to swell. Master, I am ready. I will fulfill my promise today. Be safe. Glenn said nothing more and watched Sotingyu leave. City Lord's mansion. It's been half a month and there's still no news at all. The origins of these thieves are very strange. There were thieves attacking the palace in the Imperial City before. They seemed to be looking for something. Outside the door of a castle, the city lord and the knight commander were waiting here. Just yesterday, Elsa said she had thought of a way to get the princess back to consciousness. As soon as she entered the room, it lasted 2 days and 1 night, and now she saw that the sun was almost setting. With a click, the door that had been closed for a long time was finally opened. Elsa walked out with a tired look on her face. The city lord and the knight captain came forward and asked, "How is it? Is the princess awake?" "Ahem, wake up." Elsa raised her chin proudly and said the result. "That's great. Thank you to the great magician Anthony for your blessing." The city lord and knight commander were relieved. "Then I'll go see the princess first." The experienced city lord naturally understands this kind of thing about showing your face to gain favor. Elsa stopped her and said, "Wait a minute, Her Royal Highness has just woken up for less than a while and has already fallen asleep. Now we cannot let anyone disturb Her Highness's rest." Elsa's words gave up the two people's thoughts of going in.